Audio Jungle.
Hello there, Badraven flock members. The Badraven here, and we're going to do part 3 of our Halloween movie reviews, all the way up to Halloween, the original John Carpenter special. But today, it's not going to be that one. It's going to be Halloween Resurrection. Yes, Halloween Resurrection, the Busta Rhymes movie that lives on in infamy. Get my little cheat sheet out here. Now, this movie was directed by Rick Rosenthal, and it was made in 2002, released or whatever, by Dimension Films. I think the budget was like $15 million and made like $30 million at the box office. It wasn't like a runaway hit. Time you counted all the different things that they did in it, as far as promotion and everything, it probably just like it made any money at all. Why it was so hard to get anything else made besides the zombie remakes. The movie has a neat little premise, and as you can see, the name of the movie here is part of the trailer. I was watching the trailer just before this to get this to show up, and I looked on the trailer, and it kind of made it look like Jamie Lee Curtis was going to be in at the end of the movie to like do battle with Michael Myers, and I hadn't remembered watching that on the trailer before. But this is a spoiler review, so if you don't want to hear anything about this movie, turn this off. Like I said, it looked like she was in the whole movie. She's only in the very beginning of the movie, and she gets killed quite stupidly, as I must say, at the beginning. But let me go into who's in it. Of course, Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode, even though she's in it very, very, very short time. We got Busta Rhymes as Freddie Harris. Bianca, I can't pronounce that last name, I'll list it up here. Sarah Moyer, the character. Sean Patrick Thomas as Rudy. He was kind of well known back in that time. I haven't seen him much lately, but he was in a lot of different movies I've seen. So he's a good actor. Daisy McCracken as Donna. Katie Sackhoff as Jen. Let's see, Luke Kirby as Jim. Thomas Ian Nicholas as Bill, and he's from the American Pie movie series. Ryan Miriam as Miles Barton. And Tyra Banks is in this as Nora, Busta Rhymes' woman, in this movie. Now, the premise of this movie is kind of neat, but let me get back to the beginning. There's like a beginning part of this that's not got nothing to do with the actual movie setup. You know, after watching H2O, so I'm assuming you've seen H2O. We haven't got to that review because I'm kind of doing them in backward order on my channel. But in H2O, she thinks she has killed Michael Myers by cutting his head off. Well, we find out she's in another sanitarium, a crazy house, like I like to call it, in this one. We find out she's gone crazy because they find out, they show scenes, they got to make new scenes up from the end of the last one, H2O, where they pull the mask off the head that she's cut off, and it's the ambulance driver that she's actually cut the head off, not Michael. You know the part in H2O where she's getting ready to cut his head off, Michael Myers' head off. He's like holding his mask. He's supposed to be trying to get the mask off. I don't know how he can't get the mask off. But they said that when Michael woke up, when the ambulance driver was trying to get him on the gurney, I guess, by himself, Michael raises up and he smashes him against the wall and like supposed to put his hand on his throat and like destroy his larynx, so he can't even speak to tell her. That's why he's like, at the end of the movie of H2O, that's why he's like, you know, trying to tell her that he's not Michael Myers before she decapitates him. Well, needless to say, she didn't get that memo from him, and his head is removed from his body. So she goes crazy again, or for the first time on this movie, and they have to put her in an insane asylum. So she's sitting there like in a catatonic state, and she's like one of their most well-known patients. And they had a really cool scene of another character that's in the sanitarium. I don't know his name in this movie. If I look it up, I'll post it here. But he plays another person in the sanitarium that's crazy. And he's got the clown mask on like Michael wore when he was a little kid. But he's running around in it, and the guards catch him, and he's like, they ask who you are, and he's like John Wayne Gacy. And he talks about all the stuff that John Wayne Gacy had done, all the killings and stuff. So he's kind of a neat character. I'll tell you why after this little part here. Anyway, they show her room, and she's like all in catatonic state. Laurie Strode is. They're telling them why she's in there amongst herself as they're getting her ready, and they give her pills, and she looks like she's taking them. But after they leave, she actually spit them out and put them in her little doll. So she's trying to stay ready, so in case Michael, her brother, comes back and tries to finish the job. And of course, luckily, or unluckily for her, he shows up. And I don't like his mask in this one either. I don't know why they can't keep it as close to the part 1 and 2's mask. It looks so stupid. Not as bad as some of them in 4 and 5 and 6. But it just don't look right. It just doesn't look like him. And it throws me out of the story every time I see these masks. But anyway, he's there to kill her. So, going through his regular rampage, he's like walking through the halls, and they got security cameras, but they think it's the other guy that I told you had the clown mask on. They think that he got out of his cell again, dressed up like Michael Myers, they think. I think the one guy does see him, one of the Michael Myers masks, in the clown mask. He sees him, and he's like, oh, can't believe it, because Michael just walks past his room. Needless to say, the guards go out to try to catch the other guy, and they think it's not Michael. Michael kills both of them. And I'm going to go into all the details of how he kills them. It's just, you got a throat slit, and one of them gets their head cut off, put in a dryer. So real creative on those kills. He continues towards Laurie's room, and somehow knows where it's at. So he goes beeline to her room, gets in there, she's not in there, or she's behind the door. She hits him with a lamp, takes off, and makes sure he follows her. She goes up to the top of the roof. He comes out, and he sees her gown on the edge of the building, goes over there. She opens the door again. Behind the door again, she's hiding. Boom, she gets this like trap that she has set up there, wraps around his leg and pulls him up in there, and he's dangling over the edge. And she can just drop him on his head, or she can take his knife, because he drops his knife there and she picks it up. She can take his knife and just slaughter him right there. He's hanging upside down by one foot. He's helpless. But, horror movies, what they are, they don't do that kind of stuff. They don't do the obvious. She gets all scared because she's getting ready to cut the rope on him, and he starts grabbing his mask like the orderly or the ambulance driver did in H2O. So she's thinking, oh no, I may cut off another person's head. It's not supposed to be him. I don't know how you get that after he's chased her all the way up. I don't think if he would be doing something like that if he was actually somebody else. But anyway, she reaches to take off his mask, and of course he grabs her, stabs her, in the back, and the rope breaks, and they're kind of hanging there with his one arm, and he's got her and the knife in her back, and for some reason she kisses him on the mouth. I don't know what that's for. I guess she says, kiss him on the mouth and says, see you in hell, falls to her death. I think, think she's dead. He gets away, he starts walking away, and then the guy that was in the clown mask sees, he gives him the knife. He gives the guy in the clown mask the knife, I guess, to make it look like he killed her. I don't know. But as he does that, this is kind of a cool part, the guy in the mask starts saying, Michael Myers, he killed so many people, on Halloween night, when whatever, and then he tells the whole history of him while he's kind of walking away, and it's kind of cool the way they do that. The way they did that part, it was a kind of neat little pull you in, kind of give you the backstory of Michael without actually telling you it in the video. You could actually hear it being read to you. So that was kind of neat. Jumps out of that into Dangertainment. Yeah, Dangertainment. It's like a reality show, and then Busta Rhymes is playing Freddy, and he owns this, I guess, and he's going to make a reality show out of Michael Myers' home. He's going to get 6 teenagers to go in there and lock them in on Halloween night, and have cameras everywhere, kind of like Big Brother, and they can't get out to the next day. So he's like, I guess they're selling subscriptions or something to it. See, this was made back in 2002. Stuff was around, but it wasn't as it is now. As big, I guess. So it was kind of ahead of its time, I guess, for those days. But he gets 6 random college kids, and you get your run-of-the-mill slutty girl, smart girl that don't want to do it, biker guy that's too tough to be here, but he's there anyway. The nerdy boy that likes a lot of sexual things going on, like teenagers. I guess they weren't teenagers. I guess they could be freshmen. I don't know. I don't know if they're that young in college. They may be in their 20s. May not be technically teenagers. But anyway, you got all your stereotypes. He puts them in. He makes them have like a little get together before the film, and he tells them all what's going on. And Busta Rhymes is just out of place in this movie. He's way overacting for this part, and I guess he's going for over the top. It ain't a horrible acting job. He's just not. I don't know if he's acted in anything else besides this. You can comment if he has, but he's just not very good in this role. I think they miscast him. I think they should have got somebody else. And Tyra Banks is kind of out of place too. They just don't look like, even though they're entertainment people and they would be in this kind of business, they don't look like the types that would be doing this. They look like glamorous people, Tyra Banks, from Next Top Model and all that, and Busta Rhymes is a singer or rapper. I don't know. It just didn't feel like bad casting. I don't know if it was just casting for the moment. They were kind of hot, both of them, because of their stuff that they were in. But anyway, I didn't like either one of them in this movie. And as far as the young people go, it's just typical Friday the 13th type kids being led to slaughter. It's pretty much that chemistry. You don't really have much backstory on any of them. You met the nerdy girl that doesn't want to do it. They have a little more on her, but it's nothing you don't care about any of them. You don't care about any of them in this cast. And Laurie Strode's been killed off at the beginning, so you don't really have anybody to anchor the movie around. They try, but it doesn't go well. I guess they're supposed to be in here when they're locked in. They're supposed to be able to be figuring out why Michael was crazy or something, because they show plants little clues about his life and everything, and some of them go off into the basement into find out like a trap door underneath the house, and they have some stuff. The crew and stuff has stuff planted down there for them to find. And then one of the girls finds out. The Donna girl finds a hole behind where they kind of collapse a bunch of skeletons on them. She finds the place where he actually has been staying. So that's supposed to be where, and I guess in H2O, he's been hiding underneath the floor of in this cavern-like sewer-looking place for 20 years. So they kind of make that comment. So we find out where he's been. And while all this is going on, Busta Rhymes dresses as Michael Myers and runs around the house, I guess, to scare the kids more, give them something to show on film, because they all got little cameras on their head. Each teenager or young adult, whatever, has a camera on their head, and they're all filming this live, and it's all on the internet, and the kids can watch it, of course. It's got a few little sub-stories going on with one of the girls, like the nerdy girl has a friend named Decker on the computer that she's talking back and forth to with her phone, and he's at a party, and he's like a high school kid, and she's like a college girl. She thinks he's like her age. So it's just a little convoluted type story on that. So I don't even want to go into that part. I just want to tell you that Busta Rhymes tries his best to kick Michael Myers' butt. He does his judo on him, or whatever you call it. And, of course, he gets stabbed. Busta Rhymes is stabbed. But he gets a few licks on Michael, but Michael's too tough for him. A lot of things happened in this movie that I haven't seen in a Halloween movie before. The house burns, I assume, to the ground because it gets, they get in a big fight at the end. Busta Rhymes and Michael, again for the second time, with the nerdy girl there, causes him to get electrocuted, which causes sparks and gas and everything get in the garage to be catch on fire. So I've never seen the Myers house actually burn down or burn up, so that was kind of new. I don't know what else to say about this movie. This movie just wasn't a well put together movie. It had a neat premise. They didn't have anything that a character that you could really latch onto. Like I said, got the main characters overacting of Dangertainment, the Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks. It's not that I've heard it's the worst one ever. No, it's not as bad as Halloween remake and Halloween 2. So I mean, I can't say it's as bad as them. It's just not a very good movie. It's just there. That's all. It's kind of movie you don't want to watch it again. So I only had watched it one time, so I had to rewatch it because I couldn't hardly remember. I knew it was the angle of the reality show, but that's all I could remember. All I can say of that is it's just It's just an movie. That concludes this review of Halloween Resurrection. I'll show you the box that came. This came with the set I've been talking about, the Halloween Deluxe set, Blu-rays. That's the front of it. It's got a neat little thing, but it's either got Jamie Lee Curtis really big on the front cover, like she's going to be in this movie a lot to sell it. And the other ones kind of get smaller and smaller as they go back off the knife. I don't know what else to say about it, but there's the spine. There's the back. The disc art is just basically the cover onto the disc. Yeah, it's part of the collection, and do with it what you may, because I didn't really like it. That one's out of the way, but we got the next one will be part 4 of this, and it'll be the H2O, which will be the setup for this one, which is not really a big setup, but that'll be the next one to come out. We really appreciate you watching. We're getting up there in our subscribers and our views, and we really like to thank the flock for watching our videos and sharing our videos with all the other people out there. Just keep on doing it, because we really need all the help we can get. So I'd like to say, first of all, remember the Badraven is your friend, and we're always looking out for you, and we hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.